Started off working at my mom's house, but I'm still stuck inside my mom's house. Dreaming about 10 bands when I walk it out. Then I wake up, boy, what you talking about? You ain't never gonna catch me slipping. Just wait until you see me winning. And I'ma tell you from the jump, I just hope you listen. Homie, wait until you see me winning.
There's a bit of a NBA MVP debate going on right now, and
I don't think it's much of a debate.
Well, it is a debate. It's between James Harden and Anthony Davis. Now, obviously, it's going to go towards Harden because look at the position the Rockets are in. They're number one team in the West, 4 games up above Golden State. But Anthony Davis...
Before we get started, going in the debate, just got a question. Do you think that Anthony Davis is higher in the debate if he still had DeMarcus Cousins and their team was performing a little bit better?
I'm not sure. But I feel
if they're winning a couple more ball games, I think I don't say he's going to win, but I think he's making a bigger push for the MVP trophy.
But at the same time, with Cousins being out, it's allowed Davis to show more of how he can lead the team by himself.
True.
But honestly, in my opinion, it's a close debate. It should be if you're going based off skill set and you're going based on talent and performance on the court. It's a lot closer than what it should be.
Well, and also, this isn't James Harden of last year. James Harden has become more of a complete player this year. Last year, his defense was exposable. People could exploit him on the defensive side of the ball. And this year, he's made a giant leap forward to make sure that he was an all-around complete player.
No, I completely agree. He went from being one of the league's worst defenders to being an above-average defender. And me saying above average, I'm not knocking him at all. He's drastically improved his defensive ability. But like Max Kellerman said today, he said their offense is close, but their defense is a world apart. Because you got to keep in mind, Anthony Davis is a big man, a rim protector, and he's almost shooting the exact same three-point percentage as James Harden. I'm not going to go into field goal percentage because obviously Anthony Davis has taken more high-quality, high-percentage shots. But their three-point percentage, Anthony Davis is shooting 34% from behind the arc, while James Harden's shooting 37.5%.
Yeah, but see, a fault in that argument is you have to also look at the amount of threes that each one are taking. Obviously, James Harden is going to be a little bit lower, or is going to be right about where it's at because he's shooting more. Anthony Davis could shoot 10 free throws or 10 three-pointers and make 3 of them and be around that same percentage. You know what I'm saying?
No, I hear what you're saying.
So you got to, because my thing with that is you got to take into account the volume of it because it's not the same. If they had right around the same amount of shots and that was still going on, my eyebrows are going to get raised and I'm like, oh man, they're doing something, but they're not the same in that regard. It's like saying that Anthony Davis has a better free throw percentage if he takes X amount of shots less than Harden does at the free throw line. You know what I'm saying?
No, I completely agree. But a lot of people are going off, they're looking at James Harden's assist numbers, saying, well, look how much more assists he has than Anthony Davis. Harden has 8.7 assists per game, while Davis has 2.3. But then you got to factor in the rebounds, because Harden is a guard. He's going to have more assists.
Well, also with the more...
So the rebounds is what better suits Anthony Davis's game.
Well, also if you look and you compare these two players, even though he has more assists, Anthony Davis has less turnovers. So like if you have less assists but you're turning the ball over less, it means you're taking care of the ball at a higher rate. You may not be able to dish it out as much, but that comes with your points. You make that up with your defensive side with the blocks and the rebounds and things like that. So it doesn't really matter because he's still taking care of the ball and securing it well. So even though he's got more assists, that's going to be expected because of the position change. You know what I mean?
No, I hear you, but honestly, it's so much closer. You have Harden, who's averaging 31.2 points, which, I mean, my God, what a year. But you have Anthony Davis, and granted, Anthony Davis has missed a few games with injury, but he's still averaging 28.2 points a game with 11 boards.
And also, another question, if you put Anthony Davis on a team like the Rockets and you give him some marquee pieces like the Rockets have and Capella and in Chris Paul and stuff, if you give him some superstars to play with, do you think he still does the same thing because he's going to have to spread the offense around more? Because that's the thing for me. This kind of seems like Harden is doing a good job at balancing it. He's balancing the assists, because he has all these people on his team. So he's still putting up 30 a game, almost 32 or 31 a game, but he's also giving out 8 assists. So he's at least giving out 8 other buckets as well. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I feel like he's spreading his game out more than Anthony Davis is.
And Mike D'Antoni's offense, he's known as being an offensive coach. It suits Harden's game so well. And the fact that he has another true point guard in Chris Paul, I mean, you never know where that ball is going to get passed around to. You never know who's going to have the rock. You never know who's passing it. And here's my question for you, Texas. According to BPI, the Rockets have a 50.6% chance to make the NBA Finals. Is that too high? Because that's obviously the favorite. That's over 50%. They're the slight favorite over Golden State.
I think it's too low.
Too low?
Too low.
You're out of your mind.
No.
You are absurd.
I think it should be right around 60%. Because here's the thing. They're up 4 games, right? The Warriors are vulnerable right now. They have their superstars playing injuries to try to make a well-rested run for the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? The only one that I'm kind of not questioning, is the broken rib for KD. But these other players dropping like flies, I'm kind of questioning a little bit. But if you look, it's really a 2-horse race. It's between them and the Warriors. And I believe in 7 games, the Rockets are going to take it.
It's just hard for me to sit here and give them that much of a nod because, like Ric Flair always says, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And right now, that's the Golden State Warriors.
I'm going to tell you right now, the reason that the Rockets would beat the Golden State Warriors is their bench.
No, the Rockets are a deeper team. And
that's what I'm saying. Because here's the thing. When it comes down to 2 teams who have this much star power, it's going to come down to who can grind it out, who wants it more and who can grind it out. And when you have guys like Gerald Green coming off the bench, and you got guys like the Warriors, they don't have that many guys coming off the bench that are up that same caliber that can score 10 to 15 a night on average. The Rockets do.
Yeah. And honestly, you don't hear much, but I feel like a huge difference, and I'm not saying it's going to sway the series one way or another because, I mean, that's going to be the series for the NBA Western Conference Finals. But what in my opinion, the dark horse to watch in that series is going to be Trevor Ariza. Because he's a tall forward, but he can play like a guard. He can guard KD when he's on the floor. And honestly, he adds so much to the Rockets' depth. But the Warriors, you always hear the Warriors fans talking about their big 4 in Curry, Thompson, Draymond, and Kevin Durant. But people seem to forget the Houston Rockets kind of have their own big 4 in Chris Paul, James Harden, Clint Capella, and Eric Gordon.
Yep.
Now, granted, they're not as star-studded.
Well, that's the problem when it comes to because a lot of times in sports, the average sports fan opinion takes over. You know, like people take that opinion and run with it because it's kind of absurd, like this show. And so that's why it is, because people don't look at Eric Gordon and go, oh my God, he's a great point guard. People don't look at Trevor Ariza or Clint Capella and go, oh my God, they're great players, like they would the Warriors. You know, people were playing up to the Warriors' hype, and now they're finally not living up to it. And also, even though it's a 2-horse race, there's a 3rd horse in the back, and they're slowly looking, and it's the Trailblazers. Because the Trailblazers, they are playing great basketball.
Damian Lillard is the most underrated player in the game. Now, granted, he is a star.
No doubt.
He is a star, but you do not hear the media and everybody talking about Dame Dollar like you do Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, LeBron, and he's on their level. He is no doubt on their level.
In my opinion, he's one of the better point guards in the league. Top 5, top 6 point guard in the league.
I completely agree with that.
And he's so young. He has so much left to do.
And he has another. You have C.J. McCollum with him. I mean, that is a filthy pairing.
And he says it because, you know, he's a rapper.
Yeah.
Right? So, like,
Dame Dollar.
He had a bar.
Game.
He had a bar where he said, last time they count me out, what I do, game 6. And that was when he hit that clutch 3 over the Rockets in game 6. And that's the thing about Damian Lillard. He may not speak a lot leading, but man, does he lead by example. He kind of gives me the impression of Derrick Rose when Derrick Rose first came to Chicago and won the MVP. Derrick Rose didn't talk a lot by leading, but he led by example. He led by how he played. You could never count, because it's almost it's almost like Tom Brady in the fourth quarter. You never know what Damian Lillard's going to pull out of his back pocket. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And he could easily take over a game in the fourth quarter and shoot and shoot and shoot and just turn a game around. And people are counting them out, but they shouldn't.
Yeah, and another dark horse in the West is, honestly, the Thunder. They haven't been playing perfectly great, but the Thunder is a team you have to watch. The Pelicans are a team you have to watch because Drew Holiday has really came on this year. And then another dark horse for me is I don't think they're going to make a run, but in a couple of years you're going to have to watch out for the Utah Jazz. Donovan Mitchell is a nasty, nasty man.
Every team is regretting not taking Donovan Mitchell. Every team. Like, he has proven that he is what everybody thought he wasn't. He has proven that he is a star in this league, and he's going to be here for a while.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, completely. And he's shown he can score. He can beat you with his speed. He'll if you let him get to the bucket, he'll dunk on you. If not, he'll hurt you for the three.
And you know, speaking about these guys who you can never give up on, what about the Toronto Raptors?
They've been on fire.
They're playing great back. Drake comes out and goes, "Hey, the Rocket streak, it is no more. We're ending that tonight." And guess what they did? They ended it that night. And they're sitting at 53-18, and Boston is sitting at 48-23. Boston has to win. They could win the next 15 games, go 15-0, and Toronto could go 12-3, which is very possible, and they still wouldn't give up the first seed. I think it's Toronto's. I think Toronto, it's their game to lose in the East. And people always talk about how they flame out in the playoffs. This is what their coach had to say today, okay? The coach said, this is from Bleacher Report, "You're playing against arguably the best player that's ever played in the NBA, i.e. LeBron James. If that's flaming out, give me that opportunity to walk through that door every single year." That's what Dwayne Casey had to say about him and his boys. It's like, hey, if you're going to tell us we're flaming out, but we're playing the best guy in the world every single year, give it to me every single year.
Yeah.
And it also looks like the Celtics are not going to win the championship this year. If Kyrie comes back healthy, they have a chance to make it. Okay? But the thing that is good for the Celtics, even though they're sitting at the number 2 seed, is the fact that they're still winning ball games without him. Mm-hmm. They're not much.
And look where they're at, and they've not had Gordon Hayward all year except for a couple minutes.
Exactly. They're not much worse without him, but I don't think they're much better with him. And so, no, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. I don't think that they are much worse without him, but I don't know how much worse they are without him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like they are built to win not having him in the lineup. Obviously, if you want to take one of the top 5 point guards in the league, you're obviously going to want to take him. But their team is still winning ball games. They still have, even though he's out right now, they still got Jaylen Brown. They still got Jason Tatum. You can't rely on Al Horford as much as you used to, but they still got Al Horford. They
still got veteran presence, and you still have Marcus Smart.
They have a team top to bottom. That Marcus Smart, even him, he's out indefinitely, and they're still winning ball games.
I'll blow that coverage.
You know what I'm saying? Like
that slipped my mind.
But I mean, even he's still in the team though.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And he, and so the fact that they can win ball games without Kyrie Irving means that everybody else in the East needs to be put on notice.
Yep, they're winning games by playing defense.
Exactly.
In a league where it's strictly offensive driven, they're winning games by playing defense.
Brad Stevens is a genius.
And you know what, Tex? Speaking of defense, where is Ndamukong Suh going to sign? Ian Rappaport confirmed today Ian Rappaport confirmed today he canceled his visit with the Raiders.
I don't know why you would go there.
And Schrager has been saying the market for him is $15 million.
15? Who's been saying that?
Schrager. He's saying Suh's market's around $12 to $15 million a year range, and the Rams can only offer 8 to 10.
Let me tell you something right now, though. If the Rams tell Suh, hey, listen, you have a chance to ride off into the promised land. You're going to make about $2 to $5 million less than you would make on another team, but we can give you one of these. We can give you one of those rings, buddy.
If he's wanting a ring, he needs to go to New Orleans.
True. But either way, but even then, I still think the Rams are in a better position than the Saints are.
Well, given, of course they are. They have more cap space than the Saints do. Not much, but a little bit more.
No, I meant like talent-wise.
Oh, okay.
Like as far as being able to win the big thing.
It's going to come down to all three teams that has to choose between, which are the Saints, the Titans, and the Rams. They're all going to be competitive next year. They're all going to compete. More than likely, they all are going to make the playoffs. So to me, what it comes down to is he knows he's going to a winner, but it comes down to how much money is he willing to give up to win. Because, in my opinion, I'm a diehard Titans fan.
He's not coming to Tennessee.
No, listen. In my opinion, the Rams are a better suit for him to win now.
Of course.
But
he'd have to if he goes to the Titans, he's gonna have to wait a year or two. If he goes to the Saints, I mean the wide receiver core, Michael Thomas is real good. He doesn't drop much passes. But like I said, out of those three, the Rams are the most complete team that he'll go to.
Yeah, but here's my point. If he goes to the Titans, not only do they have the space with the ability to give him the money that he should make, he turns that defense into an elite defense. You'd have him paired with Jarrell Casey. I'm just talking strictly guys rushing the passer here. You'd have him paired with Jarrell Casey, Wesley Woodyard, Derek Morgan, and Brian Orakpo. And then with the secondary, because a great pass rush makes your secondary even better. And our secondary is Malcolm Butler, Adoree Jackson, Logan Ryan, Kevin Byard, and more than likely Jonathan Cyprien. That's not bad at all. And that is a defense that you can depend on to go out there and shut an offense down.
Well, also, too, with the Titans, they have a couple of players coming off the books next year, most notably Brian Orakpo. So they have some guys that are coming off the books that they're probably not going to re-sign. And so even if you guys run into a problem where you don't have a lot of money to give him this year, you just backload his deal.
Exactly.
And then you allocate the money elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? You give him like a huge signing bonus. Then you backload the money and you give him less in year one than he gets in year 2 or 3. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And the Titans have to be careful to save enough money to give Taylor Lewan his extension and to give Mariota his extension. Now, the way Mariota plays this year determines how much his extension is going to be.
Exactly.
I don't think he's going to set the market unless, of course, we make a Super Bowl run. But you never know. But in my mind, honestly, and we've got a poll on Twitter asking which team should Ndamukong Suh sign with.
Completely original.
And right now the Rams are leading with 41%, the Saints at 33%, and the Titans at 26%. And honestly, I feel like these are people mainly that have not been paying attention to cap space who have voted. But I feel like the Rams have the better shot because they're in LA, and that defense, you'd have him paired with Aaron Donald, rushing, coming after the quarterback. And then you have Marcus Peters, Aqib Talib, and LaMarcus Joyner. That is absolutely filthy. And you have one of the best offenses in the league.
They would probably be, I think they are even now, but Sue would put them over the mountain. I think if you go add a guy like him, I think that you become the most complete team in the National Football League, without a question.
Even over the Eagles or the Vikings, who've added Kirk Cousins, both those teams have gotten better.
Well, the Vikings lost the running back.
McKinnon.
Yeah.
But they have Dalvin Cook.
I mean, they still do, but what I'm saying is I think that with the Rams coach, who's a genius, and then you have their I think their defense is going to be the best in the league. And then you got Todd Gurley. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And I've loved that you've just said best of the league because that totally brings up our next topic here. Because Kevin Byard.
No, man, you're a fan. Listen, you're a fan, man. You're listening to the writers, dude. You keep being a fan. I'm gonna keep being the man. Okay, you're not fixing to sit here and tell me that even though I've been out of the league for X amount of years and I think I'm better than everybody else, you're a fan. You're not fixing to sit here and tell me otherwise.
But what is Dion thinking? Does he not realize he's tweeting Kevin Byard?
Probably not.
I mean, honestly, what are you doing? Because Kevin Byard, I'm not going to sit here and say he's the best safety because I believe that's Earl Thomas, without a doubt, a healthy Earl Thomas. But Kevin Byard has made his case that he's in the conversation. And you're going to call the man a fan? That's so disrespectful. And Have you seen the tweet about Deion Sanders Jr.?
No, I haven't.
So, Deion Sanders Jr. receives a tweet that says, well, he puts out a tweet about their T-shirts he's selling, saying, "Start your day off motivated. This is for all of you haters and naysayers." And it's a picture of a guy wearing a shirt, and it says, "You should have never doubted me."
Yep.
And then Jess Haney, some random Twitter guy, I have no idea who he is, he says, "Y'all should send one to Kevin Byard for free." And this guy's a Cowboys fan. And Deion Sanders Jr. replies saying, "I'll send him every color. Been following Kevin Byard for like 2 to 3 years now." And Kevin Byard says, "I'm good, bro. I appreciate the offer, though."
Dang.
I mean, why? I wouldn't want it either.
Dang. That's got to hurt. That's tough. That's a tough. Ooh.
Pop set Deion Sanders Jr. up to fail there.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's the thing when you have somebody like, listen, Deion Sanders was Deion Sanders because he was a freak athlete. Okay. There's 2 types of stupid people in this world: Deion Sanders and anybody who runs at him with a football. You know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, you can't doubt his career.
You know Deion Sanders ain't making that tackle.
Nah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, obviously you can't doubt his career, but come on, bro. That's out. Like, I'm one of the biggest Titans haters there is.
Yeah,
Kevin
Texans fan.
Kevin Byard is one of the best safeties in the league. He had a breakout year last year in his sophomore season. No sophomore slump, sir. And he has a chance to be even better.
And he's been putting in work. If you follow him on Twitter, he's been posting these workout videos every day. But he's been working out hardcore.
Well, that's what and that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't, like, if you want to go at somebody who's barely got any experience, you want to go after somebody like another Titans player, like if Adoree Jackson starts tweeting at you like that, eat him alive. He's not proved anything. You know what I'm saying? But All-Pro, come on. Now, and I don't necessarily disagree with his statement. I don't think he should have said Tyrann Mathieu was the best in the league. I think he should have said he was one of the best.
Because he is.
And
he
that's the
absolutely
truth.
is.
And I think it may be one of those things where Deion Sanders, somebody lost that one simple word in the quote, and then Deion Sanders was just like, you know what, I'm going to run with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he probably did. And honestly, I would like to believe that Primetime did not know he was tweeting at Kevin Byard when he called him a fan. But I also believe it's Deion Sanders.
Oh, no, Deion Sanders knows exactly who Kevin Byard is. He knows exactly who he was tweeting. He knows exactly who he was doing, what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? And he doesn't care. Because when you're somebody like Deion Sanders, it's like Charles Barkley of the NBA. He's already had his fame. He's already made his money. There's no reason why he has to censor himself whatsoever. Because everybody's going to do like we're doing right now and go, man, that old guy is so crazy. But he used to be real good at football.
Yeah,
but he's crazy now, you know. And that's what we do. We sit here, and that's what he's doing. He's just creating more exposure for himself, the shows he goes on. And he's trying to take the world over. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to take Twitter over, and he's trying to brace out into the world. Kind of like Shohei Ohtani did when he signed with the Angels.
Yeah. What a... it's too soon to tell, but I'm sitting here, yikes. Uh-oh. And he's made the 25-man roster?
Yeah. So,
I guess that's good for your Rangers.
What does that mean?
What do you think it means? It's good for your Rangers, man.
Nah, man. Listen, don't talk about my Rangers, all right? But I understand what you're saying. But here's his stat line, okay, for his at-bats. 28 at-bats, 9 strikeouts, 3 walks, 1 RBI, and 3 hits in 28 at-bats. Now, you think he's going to be better on the bump, right? No.
I mean, I would like to hope.
He's 0 for 1. He's played 2 games.
The win-loss record doesn't matter to me.
No, he's 0 for 1. He's pitched 2.2 innings.
Okay.
He's getting 2.2 innings.
I know it's going to be bad.
Okay, so that's, 8 outs? And 8 outs that he was supposed to get. He gave up 9 hits.
Wow.
9 runs, 8 earned runs, 3 home runs. What do you think the over-under, 500 over-under what people are hitting against him?
Oh, 500?
Over-under.
Over.
529.
That is
Opponents are hitting .529 against him.
And
you know what his ERA is? 27.
27. I was going to say that.
27.
Yeah. And granted, it's 2 innings, but wow.
It doesn't matter.
Wow.
If you come over,
I think he's learned real quick that this isn't Japan.
well, like the thing is like Japan is not a slouch show.
No, I'm not saying
Like,
it
yeah,
is.
it's not by any means, but it's not the best in the world.
It's
like
not the
MLB
best
is.
league.
Yeah, the MLB is obviously the talent. That's why people from Japan come over here to play. You know what I mean? And I want him to do good. It'd be nice to see the kid do good. But, like, how do you put that on the opening roster?
I feel like they kind of had to. I feel like they felt like they had to, but honestly, you don't. You send him down to let him get his
Now,
confidence.
listen, I'm all for, like, spring doesn't matter. Like, I'm all in that boat, okay? Spring training does not matter.
No, it's where you get
It's
loose.
impressive if somebody does really good, and it's embarrassing if they do really bad. But it's not the be-all, end-all. But when you have a spring that bad, and you're like, yeah, dude, you're good. You go to the majors, like, no problem. Go face Cole Hamels. Go face Felix Hernandez. You know what I'm saying? Go face all those guys that are in your division.
And then when you're not in your division, go face Corey Kluber.
Justin Verlander, Dallas Keuchel. Those guys in you still that are in your division. But then you got to go face the big dogs. You got to go with National League play or interleague play, and you got to go face Max Scherzer.
Clayton Kershaw.
Like, come on now. Come on.
And you're going to be pitching to hitters like Mike Trout, Bryce Harper,
Jose Altuve.
Aaron Judge, Mike
You
Stanton,
got to see Jose Altuve like 19.
Giancarlo
You
Stanton.
got to see your team sees Jose Altuve like 19 times a year. You're going to run into that man.
And in that same lineup, you have George Springer, Carlos Correa.
I don't know. So they send him down.
Do they start him in the pen? If he's on the roster, I mean, is he coming out of the pen? I mean, I had no idea.
Listen. So he's had a terrible spring. Okay? But here's a quick little fact about his teammate, Mike Trout. Everybody knows Mike Trout is Mike Trout. He's one of the greatest, in my opinion, he's the greatest baseball player in the game right now. Him and Altuve are neck and neck, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Mike Trout, he's played 15 games, okay? He's had 44 plate appearances, right? How many strikeouts do you think he's had in 44 plate appearances?
Give me an over-under.
Over under 7.
And in 48 plate appearances?
44.
44, it's Mike Trout. I'm going to go under.
0.
0.
44 plate appearances.
That is why Mike Trout's the best player in the
He's had
game.
0 strikeouts. 0.
Wow.
Like,
Wow.
Right.
That absolutely blows my mind right now.
now, some controversy here, okay, for your beloved Braves.
My beloved Braves.
This
And
is
we
about
know-
Ronald Acuna.
Yep.
Okay, he was hitting a 432.
Yeah.
Okay,
Great spring. Having a great spring.
here's the thing.
Top prospect in the MLB. Having a great spring.
Here's the thing. Here's my 2 tidbits on it before we get into the whole discussion, okay? Here's my 2 things. Jurickson Profar was the number 1 prospect, not once, but twice.
Yep.
Okay, and his career batting average at the major league level is 216, somewhere around there. Okay, These are the top 7 batting averages with their players in the spring training games right now. Okay,
Okay.
Jose Perala from San Diego. He's 28 years old. His career batting average is 269, but he's leading with a 440 average.
Wow.
Ronald Acuna, 432. Dan Vogelbach, 400. Avisail Garcia, who broke out last year with the White Sox, he's on my fantasy team.
I like how you had to plug. He's on my fantasy team.
He's hitting 383. Okay. Derek Dietrich is hitting 381.
Okay.
Mike Tauchman, never heard of this guy before. Okay.
And if y'all don't know, while Tex was saying this, he kind of chuckled.
Yeah.
He kind of chuckled.
His batting average right now is 370, career 222. Gordon Beckham,
Wow.
universal utility man.
He's making
Because he's
the
been on
list.
all 30 teams. He's hitting 366. His career is a 239.
Yeah.
Brandon Belt is hitting 366, and he's a career 268 guy.
Yeah, and I mean, this goes to prove spring does not.
And then Kipnis and Jorge Soler, they're leading the league with 6 home runs. So, like, obviously, like, the spring, like, it doesn't matter. It does matter.
It gets
but in
you-
the grand scheme
it
of
helps
things, they
get
can
you
get
in-
skewed, and you know what I'm saying?
The grand scheme of things is their exhibition games. It's preseason. The preseason does not matter.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is. And I know we're about to get into this whole Ronald Acuna debate. But I'm just going to say this, I completely agree with the decision.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, people keep trying. I was having a conversation with my buddy named James Francis and Reed.
I'll read.
Reed knows who he is.
Yeah, no introductions for Reed.
Yeah. And so they both told me, and I quote, "Don't go die on that hill." Because I said the biggest reason why they sent Acuna down was not for contract manipulation. He's had a hot spring. His bat has been on fire.
Yeah.
Coming out of the gate in the 12 to 14 games they've got to send him down for that extra year, the Braves are not going to be on fire. They may win some games, but not enough to warrant having him up there and possibly getting exposed. Because he still has a lot to work on defensively.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a great hitter through his minor league career, don't get me wrong. But his defense, they're not going to put him in center field over Ender and Ciarte.
No, he would be left field.
You know what I'm
No
saying?
doubt. You have
And I'm not
Marquez
saying-
in
and I'm
right,
not saying that-
Ender in center, and you'd have Acuna in left.
And I'm not saying that they didn't send him down for the contract, but it wasn't their only option.
No, that's not the only reason. They did send him down because it gives them an extra year of control.
Yeah.
Just kind of like the whole Chris Bryant whenever he was coming up with the Cubs situation.
Yep.
But like you're saying, that's not the only reason. And Acuna's going to be up by the end of April.
Oh, no doubt.
No doubt in my mind.
Unless he goes down and just starts hitting abysmally, then he's going to be up. And this is the thing. Why are Braves fans, and like I said, this is no disrespect to the Braves organization, okay? I'm not trying to come out here and say, oh, they're terrible, they're not going to win games. But they're not going to come out of the gate firing in those first 12 to 14 games that he's got to stay in the minor leagues. So why are you trying to run? You're telling me you would rather have him for those first 12 games of a season to where you might make the wild card rather than having him for an extra year at the end when y'all might actually be in the World Series?
And the thing is that extra year, that means you have an extra year to wait on giving the man his payday.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, people are upset about it. Like, I can understand you want to see it come up and stuff, but it's a year versus 14 or 12 games. Do you know what I mean? Like, how? Like, why are you so upset about it when you have a full year?